a while for us. Some people have gotten there. Other people take a little more time. The quality of the ministry is the same. It just takes longer and more growth and more depth to occur. And this is where they're at, the disciples are at. Jesus comes back to kind of prod them along. What are you doing fishing? Didn't I spend 3 years with you trying to get you to go out and proclaim the gospel, and here you're going back to your old habits, your old ways? I need you to follow me. Peter, especially you. What does it need? What does it mean to love, Peter? You say you love me. What does that mean for you? Well, I'll give you some hints. Feed my sheep. Not a stapler, not a masking tape or, little bobblehead, whatever, of so-and-so. But in a real sense, we have means to meet people on different levels in terms of giving love. There's a book I was turned on to yesterday, The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. Talks about different ways we show love. Words of affirmation. We give people acts of service. Physical touch. What were the other two? Something or another. That's why we do in threes, because sometimes the brains only remember three, and after that it's gone. What was that? Quality time and something else, yeah. I can't remember what it is. But anyway, if you look at your relationships with your spouses or your family, you know that you act in a certain way. My father gave acts of love, acts of service to us. That's how he showed us he loved us. I'm sure Peter is the same way. By what I do, I'm showing you that I love you. The people that do the soup kitchens, I'll show you that I love you because I'll do service for you. I'll feed you. Other people need that physical contact. Good job. Or words of affirmation. You're doing a wonderful job to show that you love them, and people need that. When I was first married, I read the book, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus, so I understood my wife a little better. And I really don't still understand very much. But a little I do. It's coming along. We've been married 15 years now. And it shows that, she needs some things that I didn't know that she needed. So I have to go outside of myself, my comfort zone, because I'm usually a physical touch and words of affirmation and acts of service, to something that she requires, that she knows that I love her. And we all do this. We have the people that say, well, I just like to work behind the scenes. Don't mention my name in church because I don't want to be recognized for anything. I just want to quietly work behind the scenes, acts of service. This is how I show I love the congregation and how I do service for God. And other people are more out there with expressions. They play musical instruments, or they sing, or they read, or they do something else. But it's this, Peter, you need to find ways of expressing this love. Now, Jesus expressed love in all those different ways, right? He touched. He held the children together. He hugged them. He touched people and healed them. Acts of service. He fed the 5,000 or 4,000 or whatever it was with fish and bread. He gave words of comfort and affirmation to the disciples, and he'd preach and say, you disciples, come here. I want to tell you what it really means. And he gave them bread, and he washed their feet. He did all these things as kind of examples to show that his disciples that he loved them. And that just spurs us on to say, in this resurrection season, resurrection time, think outside the box. How can we express our loves to somebody and know that it means something to them? It takes time sometimes to build a relationship, so it takes communication. I don't know if you've ever heard the story of we sent some grain to some country that needed food. We took this grain and we put it on the docks. And there it sat and rotted away because the people had no idea what it was and how to use it. We didn't form any kind of relationship. We thought we were acting lovingly, but it's not what they needed. It's not what they needed at all. It was a matter of finding out what people need. Not what we think they need, but what they indeed need. And so in that, we take further steps into this discipleship model, this role. Do you love me? Jesus asks us the same question. Do you love me? Agape. Well, man, I don't know if I could do that right now. Philia is pretty comfortable for me. You know, I can imagine with my immediate family, yes, agape, I'd do anything for my wife and daughter and my immediate family, but for someone on the street, I don't know. It's going to take a lot more time, a lot more growth for me to get there. But we take steps along the way. We come together in worship and we share the communion bread and wine. We share singing. We share the word. We pass the peace. We're finding networks. We're feeling comfortable with each other. We're sometimes pushing each other a little beyond our boundaries. This is feeding my sheep, tending my lambs, giving people what they need. And this is what God does best. Doesn't give us staplers. He gives us what we really need in our lives. Amen.